Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Team Riser Fall to talk some Sunday night football action. And boy, oh boy, is it going to be a doozy. The Kansas City Chiefs go to LA to take on the Chargers, and kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. And there is a lot to cover from start to finish. I'm not even going to promise 8 to 10 minutes because already we're looking at 12 to 15 minutes, which I think is fine because it's Sunday night football. It is week 11. Before I get into the game and my favorite plays, and there are a ton of them, so we gotta be very careful how we stack, how we mix and match these players. Before I get into all that, make sure you go to the website at Team Riser Fall. When you get there, you can use promo code Beastie, the key, as whatever a key lock makes. Whatever it makes, use promo code Beastie and you'll get $10 off your first month of premium services. And that includes everything, the voucher to Fantasy Cruncher, the study hub, all the tabs that they're adding all the time. There is a lot to take in, but once you kind of master it, you will be off and running. And feel free to hang in the Discord, send me a DM or just tag me and go, Chris, I'm here. Thanks for having me. And if you need help with anything here at the website, you can find it in Discord. I'm sure me and any of the coaches will be happy to help you. All you got to do is ask. And I will say this, I don't think I've ever said this once in my life. There is no such thing as a stupid question. I've got a low tolerance for that stuff, but I have become more patient in my older age. So whatever you need, we are there to help you here at Team Riser Fall. Let's talk about this football game, shall we? And as I said, it should be unbelievable, right? Sunday night football. Finally, we dredged through all that crap on Thursday night. Sometimes Sunday night it's not the same because the NFL can kind of flex games as they see fit, as they kind of fit their narrative of, playoff chases, divisional foes here. And when we look at Kansas City and the Chargers, Patrick Mahomes is unbelievable. Has he become, I don't want to be rude or upset anybody, but Josh Allen, with his UCL in the elbow, we all know if this was baseball, he'd be done for over a year having Tommy Johns. But this kid is tough as nails, and he's going to tough it out. But that little window is enough for people to go, well, maybe, Patrick Mahomes is now and still top of the mountain as the best quarterback in the league. And I'd agree with you. There's a couple people you could maybe have the conversation about, but as it stands right now, it is all Patrick Mahomes, and it's his to lose here. But when we look at this football game, as I said, kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. The over-under is at 52 total points right now. And this sucker opened at 50 even, and it's been bumped up 2 points. So that tells you a little story where the money's going with the sharps. And the Chargers, they're +5 right now. And to be fair, that opened at +7. So there's been a lot of movement in this game from the over-under and the point spread. And you might say, you're looking around and go, Chris, two points? That's a lot of movement. Some of these games, they don't change. And if they do, it's a half a point one way or another. 1 point in the game and team point implied total here. But no, with this game, there's a lot of movement. And that just tells me that, people that are betting and people that are making the spreads, they made one and they're second guessing themselves. So this is where we come in. You watch the video, you go to the website, and this is where we can get over on folks and move on from there. I won't even get into an intro about what I expect from this game. I'll save that to the end because we're almost 3.5 minutes in, and I want to talk about the players, right? So let's get right into it. Patrick Mahomes, first and foremost, when you look at him, $17,000 on FanDuel, 11.4 on DK, and $39 on Yahoo. Granted, the Chargers 10th overall against opposing quarterbacks, but again, I feel like I say this every time I broadcast about at least one player. So Patrick Mahomes is DVP doesn't matter. I have Mahomes 25 completions, and that to me, that's give or take one or two. We could see a case where Mahomes completes 27, 28 passes, so therefore, well over 300 yards. I'm going to predict 310, 312 with 3 touchdowns and an additional 25 to 30 yards on the ground with his legs. So the move, fading Patrick Mahomes, do that at your own peril, right? You do that against advice, as the LAA left against advice. Do that if you want. But again, if you're playing 150 max tournaments, sure, you could fade Patrick Mahomes in a few. But if you're playing 50-50s, cash games, you cannot enter a lineup without Patrick Mahomes. And that's just the theory of relativity in a way. It's crazy. When we look at Justin Herbert, $14,000 on FanDuel, $10,400 on DK, $30 on Yahoo. What I love about Herbs tonight is the DVP. Kansas City, 29th overall against opposing quarterbacks. And finally, Herbs looks like he's getting back to himself after that nasty rib cartilage. That stuff is so happened to me once, not playing professional football, but it is, you can't even just laying straight, you can't even breathe without it hurting. And Grant, this kid was on the field playing football. He's got that moxie, he's got the stone. So when we look at Herbert, I'm thinking, not kidding, 30 completions. They're going to have to throw to keep up pace with Kansas City. I have Herbert more total yardage than Patrick Mahomes. I have Justin Herbert around 315 total yards. A couple carries moved the chains for about 15 yards. I think I'd be comfortable with about 15 to 18 total yards on the ground and a pair of touchdowns. The only thing keeping me from wanting Herbert over Patrick Mahomes is the fact that it's Patrick Mahomes. If it was any other quarterback on earth this week, Justin Herbert I would prefer over anybody but Patrick Mahomes and his 3 touchdowns, and who knows how many go to Kelsey. But let's talk about the running backs here. And on paper, there is a few things to talk about from the Kansas City side of things. Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks to be just a complimentary back, just one of those guys where I don't even know if you can keep Clyde Edwards-Helaire on seasonal fantasy football rosters as a just in case, because this team is not about riding the hot hand, but Andy Reid has a goal and a thing in mind for each player. And right now, Isaiah Pacheco, the rookie, is getting a ton of work. So is Jerick. To be fair, I would prefer Jerick McKinnon out of all 3 of them tonight. Let's look at McKinnon's price tag. $7,000 on FanDuel, $4,600 on DK, $14 on Yahoo. Isaiah Pacheco, $9,000 on FanDuel, $6,800 on DK, $18 on Yahoo. Between the two, I think we could get away with using both of them because the DVP matchup is so sweet. The Chargers, 31st against opposing running backs. So I could see a case here where Pacheco and McKinnon not go buck wild, but they just rack up yardage, and it's just going to be split down. Half of it's going to be running yardage, half of it's going to be reception yardage. But of the two, call me crazy, I would prefer Jet McKinnon because he has a higher floor of catching passes. And if we use, DraftKings, they have a PPR kind of scoring format. 4 or 5 catches for McKinnon is very reasonable. So you have a built-in kind of floor for McKinnon this evening. And when you look at him, 20 yards on the ground, 30 to 40 in the air, you're looking at 50 to 60 all-purpose yards. And if you want to go Pacheco, have at it. I got 11 or 12 carries, 50 yards, a couple receptions for about 5 to 10 yards. So to me, I have McKinnon more all-purpose yards than Pacheco, and the difference is Pacheco in the program is going to be the starting running back. As we go down the list, it's Austin Ekeler. I know I've used that joke a ton of times, but hey, it's all I got right now. Austin Ekeler, $15,000 on FanDuel, $11,000 on DK, and $38 on Yahoo. When you look at Kansas City, again, the way to attack this game is the running backs on both sides because the DVP matchups are so sweet. As it stands now, Kansas City, 25th overall against defending opposing running backs. So to me, Austin Ekeler, you're looking at 10 or 11 carries for 50 yards. You're looking at, honestly, 7 to 8 receptions for another 60 yards. And Austin Ekeler will find the end zone at least once. That's like a floor for Ekeler tonight, is 1 touchdown. Again, I said I had Herbert for 2 touchdown passes, and I would have him for 3 or maybe 4 to compete with Patrick Mahomes' total stat line. But I do believe they give Austin Ekeler the ball on some sort of, draw plays or something like that where Herbert isn't accountable for the touchdown. If he takes a screen to the house, boom, that goes to Herbert. But I have Ekeler just feeding on this DST here. So give me Ekeler and everything that I can get my hands on. And the next guy here for the Chargers has got to be rookie Isaiah Spiller. Finally, getting some run, getting some play here. And we look at Spiller, 6'5" on FanDuel, 2.8 on DK. You love that in a game where the over-under is 50-plus points here. Isaiah Spiller, and then he's the cheapest, the bare minimum on Yahoo at $10. 5-6 carries, you're looking at around 20 yards. And when we look at the receptions, 1 or 2 receptions, 8 to 10 yards max. And that it's kind of tough to give Spiller more receptions because you got Austin Ekeler and surprise, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen look to play tonight. So they kind of suck up all that extra, passing attempts and passing yardage that was around the last few weeks. So let's move on to the wide receivers. We're almost 10 minutes in, and I got Yep, it's not going to be 20 minutes. I promise you that. I'll do everything I can. When we look at the wide receivers here, everybody and their mother's talking about Kadarius Toney, and rightfully so. He's 8.5 on FanDuel, $8,000 on DK, $13 on Yahoo. Juju is not playing, so to me, it's like Marquez Valdez, MVS, Justin Watson is in play, even Sky Moore a little bit, but everybody's stuck on Toney, and that's all well and good, right? The Chargers, 12th overall against opposing wide receivers. When you look at Toney, 5-6 targets, 4-5 receptions, 45. I'm giving Toney a window of about 45 to 55 total yards and a carry or two for about 5, maybe 10 yards if we're lucky here. But to me, the move is in a game like this where everything is like, to be honest with you, I'm going to tell, it's not a secret. I'm going to tell you my personal opinion right now at this moment in time. This game, there's a couple sure things in this one, right? Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Austin Ekeler. And again, I'm not the end all be all. I'm not sitting up on a pedestal going, you have to. No, I'm not talking like that. But again, if I know it and everybody else knows it, so we have to get not weird, but we have to be different. And everybody on earth is going to think they're sneaky with Toney, but that's not the case. To me, I love the idea of Justin Watson. So let's spend a minute on Justin Watson. And when you look at his predictions and projections, it's a lot more friendly for a DFS format than one would think. Justin Watson, 6.5 on FanDuel, 1,400 on DK, and bare minimum $10 on Yahoo. I have Watson, 3 to 4 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, actually. I think Watson has a chance here to catch every target that he faces, which would be outstanding for just about everything in the box score. But Justin Watson, 35 to 40 yards. If he scores that touchdown, then we're rolling, right? That's gravy and we're rolling. So make sure you don't skip out on Justin Watson. I'm not saying to have 100% ownership of him in all your lineups, but he is my wild card on the Kansas City offense. Let's talk about the Chargers, wide receiver skill positions, because Mike Williams and Keenan Allen look to be active tonight, and it's a beautiful thing because Kansas City 31st overall against opposing wide receivers. So again, Justin Herbert could have a much bigger night than I think, because it hinges on the activity of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. When we look at Mike Williams, 12.5 on FanDuel, $9,000 on DK, $26 on Yahoo. Keenan Allen, 10.5 on FanDuel, 8.6 on DK, and $24 on Yahoo. Two things. Mike Williams has not played since week 7. Keenan Allen had a full practice on Friday, so both guys are trending in the right direction. I've looked through, beat writer reports, and both guys are still questionable, but both are absolutely trending to playing. So what do we do there, right? Mike Williams, he's the to me, of all the players in the NFL, call me crazy, he is the biggest boomer bust guy. I've never had a piece of this guy because it bugs me so much, but this is why DFS formats were made, because we can skip out on all that nonsense. So to me, Mike Williams, you're looking at about 8 targets, 5 receptions, 70 yards. When you look at Keenan Allen, I think they hold Keenan Allen back just a little bit because this guy has just not been able to get healthy and get right with a hamstring, with leg issue, something like that. So Keenan Allen, 7 targets, 5 receptions for 50 yards. Josh Palmer still needs to be in the mix. I have a ton of lines with Josh Palmer and Justin Watson. That's just me. When we look at Palmer, $10,000 on FanDuel, 7.2 on DK, $19 on Yahoo. I have Palmer still, it will not be denied. 7 targets, 4-5 receptions, 50 yards, and we'll go on from there. When we talk about DSTs and kickers, I'm going to leave that alone. I want nothing to do with the DSTs because I have every single point of this over to hit, but I will say Travis Kelce has to be a lock in your lineups. What are we doing, right? If you're playing cash games or GPPs and you don't have Kelce playing in your lineups, why even bother playing DFS? He is as sure thing as it gets, right? I've said that before, and guess what? He's been a sure thing. He's come through with 6, 7 receptions, 80, 90 yards, and a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown bet is without a doubt that's your golden ticket, right? If you want to add that into any of your parlays tonight, I think that would be a massive move here. When you look at Kelce, 14.5 on FanDuel, 10.6 on DraftKings, and $32 on Yahoo. I have him 10 targets, 7 receptions, 80 yards minimum, and a touchdown, reception and a touchdown. I went a couple weeks without doing it, and I already forgot it. So to kind of tie this thing up in a bow. What are we going to do with Mahomes and Herbert? Let's stack a lineup with each guy at captain MVP and then correlate, the running backs and the wide receivers. Where are we going to get weird? Where are we going to get different? I think it starts with Justin Watson and Jonathan Palmer. And one little other move here, Gerald Everett doesn't look to be active. I mean, he's questionable, but there's no stats, there's no projections for this guy. So to be fair, Trey McKitty might be in the mix tonight. The young kid, $5,000 on FanDuel, 2-2 on DK, and the bare minimum, $10 on Yahoo, 4 or 5 targets, 3-4 receptions, 30 yards, and if he finds the end zone, hallelujah, we're rolling in dough. So be good, be safe, and I have Kansas City to win this one. No surprise. I don't want to get weird just for clicks and likes. I don't want to go, well, I think Kansas City is going to get shut out just so I can have a bunch of all that nonsense, hatred towards me. Who cares? Who knows? But hey, Kansas City will win this one 35-27 in a very close contested game. And it's just going to be action from start to finish, kind of like the 17 Fast and the Furious movies. From start to finish, you're like, what's going on here? I can't keep up with everything. That's how this game is going to be. So be good, be safe, and guess what? I will see you again, not only for Monday Night Football, but we have something called Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday where I'm going to be hammering out videos for every game. Be good, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Kansas City wins this one, 35-27. Bye-bye.